Good afternoon, everybody. February 16th version of the Business Relations Strategist Weekly Workshop. We have strategists Nandish Mohammed and Neil Shah joining us today. And the case studies of the messages that we're talking about are courtesy of Neil as the first one, and then Mohammed for the second one. So without any further delay, I'm just going to share my screen and jump right into it. You guys see the screen okay?
Yeah, we can.
Thank you. So can you read this, Neil? And then I'll stop you for the discussion.
Yeah, all right. So I can start reading
Yeah,
the
go
message
ahead.
or the entire post.
The entire post to give context to people. Let's give them some context and then any other things that you add, because this was your experience. So start with student made a great impression.
Yeah. Okay. So student made a great impression with recruiter. Student got a nice response. That's why it's obvious they made impression. This was their follow-up. That's very exciting to hear. Please let me know if I have to do any next steps or anything else to expedite the process. Also, please let me know that I can further what I can further upskill in order to, okay, that's a typo, in order to match company ABC's requirements, or perhaps what is something that I can be on the lookout for you. Eager to hear from you. Hope you have an exciting Monday.
Okay, good. Stop right there, please, Neil. Was there
Yeah.
anything else that you wanted to add to give us context of the situation?
Yeah, sure. So actually, this is a follow-up of a company which we had in our career fair, virtual career fair.
Mhm,
And right after the one-on-one session, I had sent her a message,
mhm.
which I got a response, and it was a positive response saying, like, the thing that where I was, liking their company and ready to intern over there. They
It was pretty
also,
good, actually. And what I noticed, Neil, it was quite long. So that's why I knew that you and this recruiter actually resonated.
right, yeah.
So that was very good.
Yeah, and then they replied with positive affirmations, and after that, because it was just a message on Handshake, and she was not pretty active on LinkedIn, but her reply itself indicated that yeah, it's something positive, and I was eager to see how I can convert this into a good opportunity for myself, like an internship position application, or a referral, or just skipping the first two steps of maybe a behavioral interview or something like that.
Mhm.
And so this is the message just sent to her. And
Right.
yeah, that's the
So
context.
that was very good. Did I just catch you say that this messaging is all on Handshake right now? Is that what you
Yeah, yeah,
said?
you're right.
All
Yeah.
right, good. So let me get Nandish and Mohammed's gut reaction. I'm hoping they haven't read it, but I just want to hear what they have to say about Neil's original message. What do you guys say, Nandish and Mohammed?
I mean, I believe when like the guy or girl from the company has already started the conversation, this is a good message. So I mean,
Okay,
this might, but I believe they should already be in a conversation, and writing this uh in a conversation is a good thing. And I believe the last part was also good.
which part? Nandish, which part is good? You said the last part, the last sentence?
Yes. So the last sentence, I mean, they might be thinking of like this guy wants something, but then he ended with hope you have an exciting Monday.
Okay,
So that means, like, I mean, it's not just about like, just give me the internship or give me the referral, but it's more about like making the conversation.
okay, very good, very good. Mohammed, anything before I jump into it?
And no, as you mentioned that like keep it short and like worded to elicit response. So that makes sense that like when you're contacting someone, like you, for example, as you mentioned, like just asking their status, like hope you're doing well, happy Monday, or hope your February is going good. All kind of those like which actually makes a way to response. Like when it is too long and too stretchy, like they don't have that much of time to read whole the paragraph what we have mentioned. So starting a conversation with a short and like elicit response, that is a good strategy. What you said.
Okay. Thanks, Mohammed. The reason I like to ask you your first impressions is that's a way for me to check in. What I want to teach you guys today is reading the situation. I repeat, it's called reading the situation. And sometimes some of you guys who've had appointments with me at Career Services, I like to call it, if you've had an interview conversation with me, I like to call it dancing with the situation. If the person goes this way, you go that way. You know, for this particular case, you're reading the situation. So the situation that we know at hand is that Neil had a good relationship with this recruiter. And this was all through Handshake, by the way. And Neil just shared, I didn't know this originally, that this person wasn't active. So the method of communication was Handshake. The check marks that you're seeing out there in that the design of the way we communicate with them is it's got to be short. Neil's message was short. Is it worded to elicit the response? I can kind of say it's kind of questionable because Neil was hitting this person from all over the place. Okay, so Neil goes like, that's very exciting to hear. Please let me know if you do have any next steps. So number one, Neil was acknowledging whatever this recruiter said. Right, Neil? Because you're responding to a message already. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So you're saying that's very exciting to hear. That's very good that Neil acknowledged what the other party was saying. And then his first question, please let me know if I have to do anything for the next steps or anything else to expedite the process. Question number one. And then he goes right back and gives a question number two. Please let me know what I can further do to upskill my match for your company's requirements. And then he, here's the part, Neil, it kind of like confused because the part that you said, tell me something that I can help you out with, you kind of like combined it with your other thing about asking them questions. So you see how this could be confusing.
Right. Didn't have much effect of what it could have been if it were two different things.
Yes. And if you notice in their answer, I remember this. I didn't share it in this post, but I remember from their answer, they said nothing about this particular question. Is that right?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so to me, it's maybe a confusion. It's possible they did not want to answer the question. This is all speculation, obviously. And then to Nandish's point, it's eager to hear from you. Hope you have an exciting Monday. So here's what I'm talking about reading the situation. Nandish made a great point earlier in that it's like relating to the other person. So take a look at how I would have structured this. So notice how I said, I go directly, instead of ending it the way Neil ended it, I actually started with it. I would start my message with saying, hope your Monday is exciting. And then always use their name, because your name is always, you know, the most beautiful sound in the world. You guys can probably attest to this, right? If I use your name when I'm having a conversation with you, it makes you feel better. Okay. So that's wonderful. It's kind of like my equivalent of Neil's. That's exciting to hear from you. But did you notice how I use this first versus last to Nandish's point about I'm not just talking about a job? Questions or reactions about what I just shared?
Yeah, I think yours is better, maybe more
It's
fine-tuned.
better. It's better because I started with it.
Right.
Okay. Nandish made the point earlier that it's a good thing to do. It makes it even better if I open up my response with it. Right. Good.
Yeah.
And then notice how Neil had those 3 points, and notice how the only point that I have is I go, by the way, I also want to help you professionally. Anything that you're on the lookout for that I may help with, and then I cut the message. I only have 2 points in my message. And the reason I do this is Neil kind of got lucky because the recruiter already liked their interaction. So she actually responded with quite a long message. The reason I'm showing you what I'm showing you right now is not everybody is like Neil's connection in this example. So the reason I'm breaking it up is, number one, to make it clearer. Instead of 3 points, I'm making 1 point. And guess which point I picked of the 3? Neil had 3 points, and the first 2 were about Neil. The last one was about the other party. Guess which of the 3 I decided to put in my message? I made it about them. Do you guys know why? What's the reasoning for my strategy? No answers?
It's not always, want, but it's like a two-way street. Give and
Y-
want, give and want.
Very good. And I started with the give, right? Because going back to Neil's message, it was number 1, want. Number 2, want. Number 3, give. So Bernie, when he redesigned this conversation, he cut down the 3 messages and made it only 1. And instead of 1, I started with give. Does it make sense?
Yep.
And it's also part of what we said here, in that it's worded to elicit a response. If my last sentence was about them, I designed it such that they're more than likely to respond because I'm talking about them. Had I picked the first question of Neil or the second question of Neil, since it's about me, the likelihood of it not getting answered for a non-friendlier person would be much lesser. So do you guys understand why I'm reading the situation right now and I'm being a strategist by truly being strategic about the message that I'm putting together? So ask me questions. No questions? You guys got it? So I would have ended it with, by the way, I also want to help you professional. Anything you're on the lookout for that I may help with. And then I end the message there because I want to wait for response. And then notice my transition question. You guys remember this? Yeah, Nandish, we noticed that earlier because you were kind of like cutting in and out with the conversation. So I'll watch out for the chats. Thank you for letting us know. So did you notice how I didn't just jump directly to asking them about me? I actually transitioned it with saying, is it okay to ask another question? I mean, the answer is obvious. She's already answering questions, but why did I ask? Because I'm wanting the back and forth. Make sense? Neil just missed it. Neil, what did you miss? Welcome back.
Hi. So I missed after, you said like I started with give and then wait for the response and you build the connection.
Correct, correct. So what I was saying, Neil, just as you left and got back on, was if you notice, I asked it about them. It's a give. I wait for the response. It's a higher likelihood that they will respond because I gave. When I said, is there anything I can be on the lookout for to help you? That's a give.
Yeah.
The likelihood that they'll respond is higher because it's about them. I wait for response. And then whatever the response is, and this is what I'm talking about, read the situation. Guess what my next question is? I said, is it okay to ask another question? Well, it's obvious that it's okay, but I'm just saying that as a transition so that I can get their attention. Plus, I'm trying to create the back and forth. And when they say yes, then I say, what are the next steps? That kind of like summarize your 2 questions. And if you notice in my editorial, I kind of said purposely vague so that they can respond and say, what do you mean? Or something like that. And then I'm accomplishing the back and forth that I'm wanting to create. Questions? Did you guys learn anything from the suggestions for today?
I guess I learned like how we can make it different, and how we can make them engaged in the conversation, and also how to better frame once the opportunity is in our hand.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess that's my takeaway.
Yeah, very good. And then the biggest thing, Neil, notice that you had a message that Nandish and Mohammed already thought were short. Guess what I just did? I made it even shorter
Yeah, yeah.
so that we could get the back and forth. And you
It's like
notice
chatting.
how
It's
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 like
like
chatting.
yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. I like that you said the effect that you want to create is like you just said. It's just like chatting as you want is what you want, because the relationship cannot occur if there's no back and forth. And they're designed specifically for short so that you could get a response. And by the way, none of this is 100%, because sometimes your approach might have been better because they could be truly, truly busy. And that was the only time that you can catch them. So Neil's approach would have been better because he was able to say everything immediately. And this is what I mean about read the situation, because this is why we're giving you all sorts of tips and strategies and tricks, because as you read the situation, something else applies to it. Very good. Was there anything else about Neil's example? Because otherwise we'll jump right into Mohammed's for the rest of the time. You guys good?
yeah.
All right. Thank you for letting us study your message, Neil.
Yeah, no worries.
Let us now go to, I queued this up, but it's not showing up. So Mohammed, you want to give a little background as to the message that we're talking about while we're waiting, because my internet's being slow?
Yeah, sure. So, like, I happened to connect with talent acquisition manager. Like, I had interview for a data science intern previous summer, but I wasn't selected for some reasons. But she was in my connection. So, and like, she had recently posted that like she's visiting, I think, Northern Illinois University for some career fair, and they are hosting their like uh, in the university. So I happened to see that, and like I just like comment like I first messaged her saying that like it was great to see that like they have bringing up opportunities to the students, and like I just explained that it would be great like if you come to Illinois Institute of Technology, that we do have a career fair on like coming up March 1. So it would be great, like let me know if she had any questions for like coming here and hosting the event for them. So that was the context I spoke with her in a long message, not a short message, because I wanted to make sure that like whatever I'm telling, fits the background and she understands that like not just simply saying that you come to career fair and like kind of just message her. I just told her that like I had interviewed for the a previous like intern position, and from there I connected and then explained her all the thing. So that is the like context and the background of the message.
Okay, so there's actually two messages here for everybody listening, for Nandish and Neil. I actually saw Mohammed reply to a post by May. The person that we're speaking about is May. May had a post, and then I saw that I saw that Mohammed actually responded out there, and this is what he's talking about. You know, glad for your initiative. I actually, can you pull that up, perhaps, Mohammed? Let's show that to the team because I want to talk about what you said as well. That was pretty good, actually.
Sure, just give me.
So again, the context was.
So can you enable the screen sharing option
Oh
for
yeah,
me?
I'm sorry. Mohammed was trying to get the attention. All right, you're good, Mohammed. Mohammed was trying to get the attention of May, and the way he did this was by going to a post. May happens to be posting, and Mohammed is going to show us what he actually said. I want to spend some time on it a little bit. And let's talk about why it was good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
here's the message.
share the message first for a second. Scroll back up, please. So this is a post by May, and she's saying it's career fair time. She's inviting people to join their company, yada, yada, yada. And the message that Mohammed's going to scroll down to right now is what he said. So actually slowly scroll down to what everybody else is saying, Mohammed, because I want to contrast what you said. So let's see some of the other responses. Scroll past what you have.
No, I think mine is only the one comment for her post.
That's even better. So you see how Muhammad's already standing out, because guess how many people liked May's post? 18 plus. So there's like over 20 people who like this post. Nobody said anything. Okay. So when somebody is posting, what Muhammad did out here is he just stood out because he was the only comment. All right. The other observation that you have for posts like this sometimes is people just say the usual, say, great share, thank you, nice post. But when something like Muhammad shares like this, you know how when we talk about, the back and forth, when you're personally messaging someone and it should be more like a chat, whenever you're commenting is the total opposite. Okay. Both have to be thoughtful. When you're sending a direct message, it's got to be thoughtful so that you expect a response. However, when you're commenting on somebody's post, like May's out here right now is your time to shine and kind of like show the person that you're trying to get in front of and the world. Because sometimes some of these posts are being read by other recruiters. Okay. So what Muhammad did out here was he actually spent some time, said something very specific, and then, since he's the only message, he's definitely standing out. Questions about what I just shared? Nice work, Mohammed. So Mohammed starts by giving May. The only thing different out here, oh, you did tag her towards the end. So you said, great to hear that Vistex is on the lookout for interns at entry level. You kind of complimented them, and then you kind of shared where you're from Illinois Tech. I hope that you will also consider us with the upcoming. What other sorts of things could Mohammed speak about if this was yet another post that was actually looking for people? What Mohammed put down is good, but I'm asking you guys for what another suggestion would be if there was a post like this in order to stand out.
I guess it's the continuation of the thought we had in the first example of what we could do for them, maybe.
Yes, what you could do for them. Very good, Neil. So one of that is usually what you guys have in your summary. So let's just say this was a specific post for a data analyst, for example. And Mohammed is obviously responding. Mohammed could have said something to the effect of whatever is in his summary, and he could like share this. He could say, I'm a data analyst with such and such experience. This would be one of the places where you could like reuse some of the information that's in your summary. Did my point make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
So if this was a specific ad, for example, for a job, let's just say data analyst, some people just say, oh yeah, I would like to apply, or yeah, here's my email address, send me the information. Another way to approach this is just say, tackle the field and say, yeah, I'm actually a data analyst and this is what I accomplished. And you could actually say it here, not just for the person that you're intending it for, but like I said, sometimes other recruiters are also looking at these ads. And it all kind of like boils down to what I said earlier about read any situation for that matter, including this. So Mohammed, if you could kind of go to, was it your message now that you sent May?
Yeah, the same message which I have forwarded you.
Is this what you said in the message? No, you said other
No,
things.
yeah, just
Did you want to share that? Is that okay?
yeah, sure.
So the long one that you and I talked about, this one.
Yes, this.
So give us context here, Mohammed. So after you made a comment on May's post and then you sent her this, is that what you did?
No, this was the first thing, and like to grab her attention, I just commented her.
So you sent a message first and then you made a comment.
Yes.
Okay, so just general reactions for a first message. What do you guys think? Even you could comment, Mohammed, for a first message. Is this good?
The thing I thought is like it's kind of rare that you get reply from like kind of like senior level positions in the managers. So like I have like seen some of the posts from the influencers or like kind of mentioning that if you are like emailing or messaging someone, be on to the point, like what you need, like give them the context so that when they just look at your message and they can like easily reply, rather than like you are just sending and like asking them to like give their time. That's like not possible. So kind of if you're mentioning everything in a single message, then it might sometimes it works and sometimes it won't work, as the same example kind of
Okay.
Mm.
So did you get a response to this yet?
And no, I didn't get the response from her, but I got response from her teammate who is like mentioned as Zuleima, right? So she just replied to the same message and said that like she has shared with the same thing with the May, and they are in talks with that, and then she'll update for me, that kind of thing.
So hang on. You sent this same message to that other person?
Yeah, the Zuleima. She is like a
So
team member of
Zulema
May.
responded to you
Yes.
with the same type of message, but instead of
Yes.
saying hello, May, you said hello, Zulema.
Yes.
Okay.
So
So
what I'm
that's
saying,
good
like,
because you still got a response, right?
yes.
But in a roundabout way. Okay. Because my gut reaction when I take a look at something like this is it's quite long.
Yeah, I understand.
But you got a response, right? So that's really all that matters.
Mm.
But do you remember that last week when Yash said that he sent out about 50 messages and he said there were over 100 characters long or whatever he shared. He got
Okay.
no responses at all. Speaking of Yash, Yash is here. So Yash was saying he sent out over 50 messages. Yash, can you see Mohammed's message up on the screen? Welcome to the call, by the way. Yash, are you able to speak? Maybe he's not able to. Oh, hang on. There's a chat message. Oh, that's Nandish. Yash, can you come on for a second? Maybe not. I'm just curious if his message had similar gist to what Mohammed has here. I wouldn't recommend this as the first thing, despite what he's saying that some of the folks are saying. But to Mohammed's point, he got a result. He sent the same message to somebody else who actually responded to this. So the point I was trying to bring out for Yash was he sent a similar message, sent it to 50 people, got zero response. And then he and I did a short experiment by saying, okay, Yash, why don't you try what I'm going to recommend? And all he did was he said, May, if the name of the May is, if the name of the person is May, he said May, comma, and then he said happy February. And as a matter of fact, he didn't even complete the word February upon my recommendation. And I just said spell F-E-B, May, comma, happy F-E-B. And out of the same 50 people that he sent these long messages to, 5 responded back to say happy February back. So I go by what we say for all these comments. You guys are very good at coming onto these calls. We can give you best practices, but at the end of the day, you do what works. And in this case, Mohammed sent a long message and he got a response from 1 of 2.
So I think like it depends on the person, like how you're messaging. As I mentioned you, right? Like even the same as like S sent like 50 messages and he got 5 responses.
Mhm.
So kind of like there also we can like tell that like there are people who are like not interested, or like I don't know, some might be like busy into their schedule, like on like
Mhm.
it directly not goes to into their inbox, but it goes to their like message request. So they have to open that one and then they have to accept the message and then they have to like reply kind of these things. So some are they like who, for example, I usually message like recruiters and hiring managers kind of thing. So it's kind
Yeah.
of 50-50 ratio for me. Like
Well, it's
to
not
like
50-50 to your point. It's actually reading the situation. That was the lesson for this call today. I want you guys to read the situation. And in this case, Mohammed actually had a specific style, if you will, because Mohammed has been doing this even before he and I spoke. He was sending messages, and actually, that's how he got a response from that one vice president who actually spent time with Mohammed. So I can see why that's Mohammed's comfort level. He likes to send these long messages. And that's what I'm saying. We're giving you all sorts of strategies and best practices for Muhammad. This has actually worked. And actually, this is another time that it's worked for him. So what I want to bring to the surface is this is your job search. We present to you what works, what doesn't work. You decide what your approach is. Questions or reactions to what we just discussed?
Yeah, I agree for the last thing as you said, try like multiple things, like your email, like messaging some persons, like kind of a start, like short messages, happy February or happy March kind of thing. And for 10-20 people you're messaging, just check it what's kind of response. And you
Yes.
message the same kind of like bit introductory message and like the context on what you are like want to talk to them. So those kind of like 10 messages and combine those and you'll get a response like which is like kind of like getting more uh, on the upper side.
Absolutely.
I guess
So
the
go ahead.
different type of experiences or the like scenarios we have right now on hand is exactly the coincidentally the title of the meet, maybe like reading the situation.
Yes.
So I guess it really makes sense to just to dip our toe in the lake and see if the water is cold, hot, and judge and go with our gut. But obviously, what you said would make more sense and would be the mainstream thing to do to just get them engaged first. But if it's only, sometimes you just feel like, this might just work, then it's worth a shot, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, Muhammad's way is what most people do, right? If you take a look at people messaging out there, um, how Muhammad does it by like stating everything, being direct to the point and what they want. Well, actually, it's not like it's a
Also,
longer message.
sorry to cut you off, but it's like it's not something that they would usually read also. So
Yes.
uh, and to Muhammad's case, like in particular when we are talking about May, we don't really know how or what type of her interaction is with students, because sometimes you just look at a student. If I were in May's place, I would have got bored with student messaging me all the time and I would have just assumed him to be just another guy. But
Hmm.
it's like I don't remember the other person's name, but when she would have actually read the message, it
Hmm.
would have been a different conversation altogether, and then that could be the very reason why she actually replied also.
Yes.
um, so it's really hard to draw conclusions from a small like data set, like I mean 2 messages, but it's like again reading the situation.
It is
And
definitely reading the situation.
yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys are learning more than one tool, because it's kind of like we're giving you a whole bag of tools, and then based on the situation, you do what applies or gets results for you. So that's really good that you guys are applying yourself for this particular call. Any other learnings or comments for our lesson today, which is reading the situation? Crystal clear? You guys got what you need out of today?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that was really good. Keep those messages coming so that we can like do the workshop either, via chat or another LinkedIn post, or like talk about them like today's workshop session. So, all right, guys.
Yeah. Actually, I have one more thing to ask from you.
Okay.
I don't know really how it would work. I mean, it's just popped in my head right now as we speak. Because
Okay.
we have one career fair on March, right? And I was hoping where we could discuss a couple of things. First is like how we can, you know, uh, as the BRS team, be ready for the employers uh, from the BRS's perspective, and the other was how we as students could be ready for the career fair, and then just the thresholds of different areas, maybe as we were talking about, maybe resume or first message. And I guess in that Yash's approach would be much better, keeping it below 100 characters or something, sort of just discussing or brainstorming something out of maybe doing that, something good comes out of that a week before uh, the career fair. Maybe it's just a suggestion, I don't know, I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah. No. This call is about you guys. So you guys tell me what you need, and then that's what we're talking about. So thank you for sharing that, Neil. So what would this look like? Are you suggesting that for like next Thursday we talk something more specific about career fair? Is that the request?
Yeah, yeah, in
All
a
right.
broader perspective, it's yeah, exactly what I'm asking. And maybe just people do their own research and then they just come up here and speak about stuff, and then you can just put in your expertise and then correct, reform, evolve, whatever that applies in each scenario.
Yeah, that's good. So one of the things that I would like to do in preparation for the next BRS session, which is going to be career fair specific, is why don't you guys start doing research into the companies that are actually coming here, so that you can get a head start on relating to these people. Because usually when you speak to somebody and you start talking about their company or even about them based on something that you read on their LinkedIn, there's like automatic relation that's created, because they'd be like, oh, wow, this person knows about me or my company much, much better. And you create a very good first impression.
Right.
So to Neil's point, why don't we start researching some of that? You guys, during this entire week until next Thursday, do your prep work so that we can have a more productive Thursday BRS
Yeah,
workshop
definitely.
strategy. Oh, thanks for the suggestion, Neil.
Yeah, thank you.
Other last minute before we end this call? All right, guys, keep up the great work. You guys are doing fantastic. So either email or message us in the chat, and then we will see you next Thursday.
All
Bye,
right,
guys.
thank you, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.